Why, hello there. I'm Sin. We're in the Book Nook, and today we're going to talk about my past, present, and future of books. What I've finished, what I'm in the middle of, and what we're going to get into. All right, so first up, I read and finished The Red House by Mary Morris, and this is a story about a woman that went missing when she was 42 years old. She was a wife and a mother. She one day just disappears. She leaves home her car keys, her purse, everything. She left a half-eaten sandwich sitting out on the counter. Everything seemed like she intended to come back, and she just disappeared into nowhere. She was originally from Italy, and so her daughter at some point decides she's going to go over to Italy and see if she can maybe try to find some traces of her mother and what happened to her. And there was also these paintings that her mother had did of this place called the Red House. And on the back she had written, "I will not always be here." That's like this weird thing that's kind of haunted her. And she's like, what is this red house? What did it mean to my mother? And what was going on? Because it really seemed like she intended to come back. And that lack of closure all these years for the daughter, Laura, she kind of was like, my life was in two pieces. There was before when my mother was there and after when she went missing. And so I think it's been at this point like 30 years since her mother had gone missing. And she kind of starts to follow these traces and clues that start to put together a story of what had happened to her mother. And there's so much that the mother just never shared or told them, and all this just sad stuff that had happened during World War II when she was a child, and what exactly this red house was. And so Laura goes to Italy. Eventually she finds a man who knew her mother that starts to tell her the story of her mother, and then takes her eventually to this red house and tells her what it was and why the family was there. And so you have like the undertones of World War II, what was happening at the time, and the family was Jewish, which she never knew, and this was a place where they had kept Jewish people during the war. It is sad and heartbreaking and beautiful and disturbing and so many things, and it was such a good book. If you like stories that do have historical fiction elements, it's also a mystery and just beautifully written, very sad and emotional, and breaks your heart. Then The Red House by Mary Morris might just be for you. Never read the author before. I would definitely read more by them. This was a random book that I had picked up at the library, and I liked the premise, and it was pretty fantastic. All right, so what am I in the middle of? I am still in the middle of the Tommyknockers by Stephen King. This book is what I've been picking up and putting down because it's so big that I tend to do this a lot when I read Stephen King's books. Like The Stand, I had to pick up and put down just because otherwise I'll never read anything else. So, read like 100 pages, put it down, read another whole book, and then come back. So we're back to Tommyknockers. I'm about 3/4 of the way in now, and it's getting super weird. So Tommyknockers, maybe it's aliens. Weird stuff's happening in the town of Haven. Weird inventions people are making. There might be a UFO that's buried on this woman Bobby's property. And they start to dig it up, and strange stuff starts to happen around the town and how it's affecting these people. They start having nosebleeds and bleeding, and teeth start falling out, and people are just acting weird. It starts to seem like they're reading each other's minds, and then there's a weird green glow coming from Bobby's shed. What is in the shed? I feel like we don't want to go in there. We don't want to know what's in the shed because it might be the Tommyknockers, whatever the Tommyknockers are. It's a crazy story. And as I keep going along, it's becoming harder and harder for me to put it down because it's getting more weird and more interesting and effed up. And I know this book is hit or miss with people. Honestly, I'm enjoying it. I think it's freaking weird and loving it so far. I love stories that have to do with weird stuff like aliens, cryptids, all that kind of thing. So it's kind of in my wheelhouse. Yeah, I don't know. I'm liking it so far. We'll see how I feel about the ending. And I'll probably read more of that tonight. Hopefully I can give myself some bad dreams. Reading about aliens in the night. And, there might be tentacles. I don't know. Well, I do know. But anyways. So yeah, that's what I'm in the middle of right now. Now, what we're going to get into, I have a couple of things. So first up, we have a book that I picked up because it sounded ridiculous. And so that book is Matchmaking for Psychopaths by Tasha Coriel. And what's this book about, Sin? Well, it's about matchmaking. for Psychopaths. Let's tell you how that works. So do the psychopaths. They're like, hey, I'm crazy. I can't find a mate. Can you help me find someone for my craziness? That's not how it works. But let me tell you about this book. All right, story time with Sin. Love is a dangerous game when your clients are killers. When Lexi's fiance runs off with her so-called best friend on her birthday, nonetheless, her carefully crafted fairy tale life shatters. After surviving horrors in her past, she's been determined to finally get her happily ever after. And she's not giving up yet. I mean, maybe she should, but whatever. Anyways, as a distraction, Lexi throws herself into her unusual job, matchmaking psychopaths, a specialty of which her clients are blissfully unaware. But the loneliness is crushing. So when a gorgeous, overprotective new client named Aiden insists they're soulmates, and another intriguing client, Rebecca, seems perfect to fill the best friend-shaped hole in her life, Lexi can't help but find the attention comforting, despite her own professional boundaries. I mean, what professional boundaries at this point? This is not going to end well. We all know this. Then, a human heart appears on Lexi's doorstep. As more threatening packages arrive and her fiancé mysteriously disappears, she must confront a terrifying question. Did she inadvertently match herself with a killer? Between Aiden's claims that her fiancé will never return, Rebecca's growing presence in her life, and her own dark past resurfacing, Lexi's matchmaker instincts are being tested like never before, because someone is determined to ensure her story ends with a funeral. And that sounds pretty crazy, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so next up is a book. I just kept kind of seeing it around on social media, and I know this is an author that I believe was on the Booker list last year, and so that book is Flesh by David Zalay. I just grabbed it because I've been hearing about it. Sometimes when I hear about a buzzy book, I just pick it up because I'm curious. And so, what is this about? Well, I will tell you. Teenage Istvan lives with his mother in a quiet apartment complex in Hungary. Shy and new in town, he is a stranger to the social rituals practiced by his classmates and is soon isolated, drawn into a series of events that leave him forever a stranger to his peers, his mother, and himself. In the years that follow, Istvan is borne along by the goodwill or self-interest of strangers, charting a rocky yet upward trajectory that lands him further from his childhood and the defining events that abruptly ended it than he could have possibly imagined. A collection of intimate moments over the course of decades, Flesh chronicles a man at odds with himself, estranged from and by the circumstances, and demands of a life not entirely under his control and the roles that he is asked to play, shadowed by the specter of past tragedy and the apathy of modernity. Istvan's days hurtle forward until sudden tragedy again throws life as he knows it into jeopardy. Spare and penetrating, Flesh traces the imperceptible but indelible contours of unresolved trauma and its aftermath amid the precarity of violence of an ever-globalizing Europe with incisive insight, unyielding pathos, and startling humanity. So, it sounds very intriguing, and Flesh by David Zalay. We will let you know how this one goes. So, out of all of those, what am I most excited to get into? Well, I'm honestly, like, the Tommyknockers, as I've been reading it, has been picking up steam and has been harder for me to put down, so I'm really excited to, like, get back into that and finish it, hopefully in the next week or two. I'm gonna read some more of that tonight. And then after that one, probably Matchmaking for Psychopaths, because it sounds like it's going to be ridiculous. And I feel like I'm either going to really like it or think it's stupid. And I'm really leaning towards I'm probably going to think it's stupid. I hope I don't. I don't know. It just sounds ridiculous. So it could be really good, but it also could be kind of dumb. But sometimes I like kind of dumb things. So we'll just have to wait and see. And I will get back to you and let you know. It'll probably be in a future recent reads video. And if I do like it enough, I may do a standalone review. We'll see. That's what I've been getting into recently. What have you been getting into? Anything weird or anything that you're going to try to read that you might think is dumb? I'm always curious to hear what you're getting into. Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.